The jury will resume deliberations tomorrow in the murder trial of former Grand Rapids police officer Christopher Schurr. 13 on your side's Julia Gorman joins us now with the closing arguments this morning before the case was sent to the jury. Julia.
Juliet, we weren't sure we would get to this point today if the defense happened to continue to call more witnesses to testify. Kent County Prosecutor Chris Becker and Schurr's defense attorney Matt Borgula each summarized more than 5 days of testimony and why they think the jury should side with their argument.
Stop! Stop!
More than 3 years after this struggle turned deadly shooting between former Grand Rapids police officer Christopher Schurr and Patrick Lioya, Schurr's fate now sits in the hands of 12 jurors.
When he fired the shot, he intended to kill. That is clear when you put a bullet in somebody's back of somebody's head.
In his closing argument, Kent County Prosecutor Chris Becker reiterated what happened back in April of 2022 was unjustifiable.
It wasn't TV, it's not movies. This is a real man, a human being. He was shot in the back of the head back in April of 2022. We watched it over and over.
Speaking for nearly half an hour, Becker asked the jury,
This was a traffic stop. At the time the defendant knew what was going on. It was for a bad plate and no driver's license. What out of all this, you didn't think he was going to die?
Schurr's attorney Matt Borgula, on the other hand,
you have to decide whether the prosecutor has proven beyond a reasonable doubt, whether Grand Rapids Police Department Officer Christopher Schurr had a reasonable fear of great bodily harm or death.
He brought up prior testimony from the prosecution's witnesses, which he says opened the door for reasonable doubt.
They're disagreeing with each other on the basis for why he should or should not be in fear. How can you convict someone for acting unreasonably and not being in fear when their own experts disagree? And certainly not beyond a reasonable doubt.
Now, jury deliberations started around 12:45 this afternoon and continued until just before 5 when court closed for the day. They will pick back up tomorrow. As for when we'll get a verdict, we just have to wait and see. Julia,
thank you.